Hello, and welcome to Learn English with Podcast. I'm James, and I'm here with Amelia. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic. Do native speakers make mistakes? Spoiler alert, yes, they do. And we'll explain why this is important for English learners. Hi, Amelia.
Hi, James. Hi, everyone. This is such an exciting topic because many learners put native speakers on a pedestal, thinking they never make errors. But guess what? Native speakers make mistakes every day in both speaking and writing.
Exactly. We're going to explore why native speakers make mistakes, the types of errors they make, and how learners can use this knowledge to their advantage. And don't worry, we'll share useful tips and vocabulary along the way.
That's right. And don't forget, we've prepared a PDF for this episode, full of useful tips and vocabulary to help with your learning. You can find it on our Telegram channel. We left the link in the description. Now, let's start with the big question. Why do native speakers make mistakes?
First, let's make one thing clear. No one speaks perfectly all the time. A major reason for mistakes is the speed of communication. When we talk quickly, our brains sometimes skip over details. For example, we might say, "There's 5 apples on the table," when the correct grammar is, "There are 5 apples."
That's so common. It happens because speaking is spontaneous, unlike writing, where we have more time to think about grammar and structure.
Exactly. Another reason is informal habits. In casual conversations, people often use colloquial expressions or phrases that don't follow grammar rules. For example, "I ain't got no money" is incorrect grammatically, but commonly heard in informal English.
And let's not forget regional differences. Certain grammatical structures that are considered wrong in standard English might be perfectly acceptable in a regional dialect. For instance, in some areas of the U.S., people say, "I might could go," instead of "I might be able to go."
That's a great point. Regional variations are a big part of why native speakers' language can sometimes seem inconsistent or even incorrect by formal standards.
And then there's slang. Slang evolves quickly, and it often breaks traditional grammar rules. Phrases like, "that's so lit," or "I'm gonna bounce," wouldn't make sense in formal English, but they're perfectly fine in casual speech.
Absolutely. These examples show that native speakers don't always follow standard grammar or pronunciation, and that's okay. It's just how natural communication works.
Let's look at specific examples of mistakes native speakers often make. James, what's one that comes to mind?
A big one is confusing homophones. Words like your and your, it's and its, or there, and there often trip people up in writing.
Yes, and these mistakes happen even in professional emails or social media posts. Another common error is double negatives, like "I don't know nothing." Technically, that means "I know something," but people use it to emphasize "I don't know anything."
That's a great example. Another one is misusing irregular verbs. For instance, people might say, "I seen it" instead of "I saw it." It's not correct, but it's common in casual conversation.
And pronunciation errors are also frequent. Words like mischievous are often pronounced mischievous instead of the correct mischievous.
Don't forget spelling mistakes. Words like definitely are often misspelled as definitely, and even native speakers struggle with words like accommodate or necessary.
And how about filler words? Native speakers often use like, and excessively, which can make sentences less clear.
So true. These examples show that even native speakers have their challenges, which should reassure learners that perfection isn't necessary.
So why is it important for learners to know that native speakers make mistakes?
First, it's comforting. Knowing that even native speakers aren't perfect can help reduce anxiety. Learners can focus on improving communication rather than aiming for perfection.
Exactly. And it also reminds learners that making mistakes is part of the process. Instead of feeling embarrassed, you can see your mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow.
Another reason is that it helps learners understand the difference between formal and informal English. You don't have to imitate everything a native speaker says. especially if they're using slang or incorrect grammar.
That's a great point. And let's not forget that recognizing native speakers' mistakes can improve your listening skills. You'll learn to identify when something doesn't sound right and think critically about why.
Let's wrap up with some practical tips for our listeners. Amelia, what's your first tip?
Tip 1. Don't copy everything you hear. Focus on standard grammar and pronunciation when you're learning. Save colloquial expressions for informal settings once you're more confident.
Good one. Tip 2. Be curious. If you hear something that sounds unusual, ask a teacher, friend, or even look it up online. This helps you learn the correct usage.
Tip 3. Practice self-correction. When you notice a mistake you've made, don't stress about it. Instead, repeat the sentence correctly to reinforce the proper usage.
Tip 4. Watch and listen to a variety of content. Pay attention to formal English in news broadcasts or documentaries, and compare it to casual English in movies or podcasts.
And tip 5. Celebrate your progress. Remember, learning a language is a journey. Every new word you learn or mistake you correct is a step forward.
So grab a notebook if you'd like, and let's do a quick recap of some useful words and phrases we talked about today. Fluent. Able to speak a language easily and naturally. Example, she's fluent in 3 languages, including French and German.
Slip up. A small mistake, often unintentional. Example, everyone makes a slip up now and then, even native speakers.
Mispronounce. To say a word incorrectly. Example, he mispronounced rendezvous as rendezvous.
Colloquial, informal, and conversational language. Example, colloquial expressions like gonna and wanna are common in casual speech.
Standard grammar. The set of rules that define what is considered correct and formal in a language. Example, in formal writing, standard grammar should always be followed.
Homophone, words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. Example, there, and there are homophones that often confuse people. Now let's understand the topic better by answering some questions. First question, why do native speakers make mistakes when speaking English? Native speakers make mistakes for several reasons. First, they often speak quickly, which can lead to small errors or skipped words. Additionally, in informal conversations, they may use colloquial expressions or slang that don't follow standard grammar rules. Regional dialects can also contribute to mistakes, as they sometimes use structures that aren't considered correct in standard English. Finally, mispronunciations and the use of filler words like or like are also common in everyday speech.
Next question. How can English learners benefit from knowing that native speakers make mistakes? English learners can benefit by feeling less pressure to be perfect. Recognizing that even native speakers make mistakes helps reduce anxiety and shows that language learning is a process. Learners can focus on communicating clearly rather than aiming for flawless speech. It also provides an opportunity to observe mistakes, which can enhance listening and comprehension skills, allowing learners to understand why certain phrases are used and how to correct them. So, what have we learned today? Native speakers make mistakes because they're human. They speak quickly, use informal habits, and sometimes break grammar rules without realizing it.
And for learners, this is actually good news. It means you don't need to aim for perfection to communicate effectively. Focus on improving, practicing, and enjoying the process.
We hope this episode has inspired you to feel more confident in your English learning journey. Remember, mistakes are just part of the process for everyone.
Thanks for joining us on Learn English with Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your friends, and keep practicing. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.